Okay, I am going to react to the latest Marvel Rivals news today for the apparently Devil Dinosaur, obviously, and then the dev changes. So let's get into it.
Do your thing, Double D. Low Bro's got your back. You're safe, pal.
Yeah.
Shield up there. Stay dip up. Yeah, that's my boy.
Okay. I know I've seen a lot of people usually online complain, they're like, oh, why aren't we getting Cyclops first? Why aren't we getting the more well known heroes, first? But even as someone who didn't really pay too much attention to Psylocke before Marvel Rivals came out, I don't see a problem with introducing these other Marvel characters that might be lesser known. Cause I don't know, to me, and I don't know, I'm biased here because it's not in the background now because I had to move it. But I love dinosaurs, and I think Devil Dino looks super cool. I think he looks like an interesting character, an interesting, fun hero to play, and I'm curious to try him out. But I mean, like, who doesn't love dinosaurs? I don't know. I think that's just kind of strange. I feel like people should be open to trying things that are new or discovering new heroes. Okay, that all being said, let's jump into the most the juicy bits, which are the patch notes here.
Hello everyone, Guang here. It's great to be back with you all. Welcome to Season 8 of Marvel Rivals. After Kingpin delivered the tablet, the Gilded Saint kept his word and wiped out the Time Plague in Lower Manhattan. However, the root of the Lord, Alchemist's headquarters, was shielded by a mysterious red colonium and survived the purge. And the energy source powering the crimson colonium, a pair of eyes that act as portals to a dimension of pure and this concussive force. Meanwhile, a distress call has reached the monster kingdom. Devil Dinosaur has learned that his best friend, Moon Girl, is being held captive under the strict control of Alchemax. Can the leader of the X-Men finally be returned to the embrace of his mutant brethren? And can Devil Dinosaur, having just escaped the Collector's Museum, save his dearest friend from the clutches of Alchemax? Get ready for a Dynamite Season 8. Devil Dinosaur is officially sinking his teeth into Marvel Rivals. As a vanguard, Devil Dinosaur brings raw, primal power to the roster, always ready to tear the opposition to shreds. In combat, he relies on his massive physique and a force-field shield to brawl on the front line, using his primal bites to inflict a continuous bleeding effect on targets. When smashing through enemy defenses, he ramps up the aggression. Devil can stretch its post-prey and temporarily camp his massive jaws around bleeding enemies, taking them out of the fight with a controlling hold. Upon activating
Bleeding is a new effect that they're adding to the game, which is interesting because of the fact that it's adding a new mechanic, right? Same like anti heal. When we first heard about anti heal, it was from Blade, and then it started to get added to like other places like Venom. So nothing in games is ever created as a one off, right? That's just wasteful. It doesn't make any sense because you want to try and reuse mechanics in as many places as possible. which I believe is the reason why, like, once you could see enemy ultimates using rogue Zulds, they're like, okay, well, where else can we use this? And they created a map, and they had a map design around it as well. I imagine that if we're going to see bleeding effects introduced now, that they might open it up to where other heroes can have bleeding added on, like Venom had anti on added on to his ultimate, or more heroes up and coming that have the bleed effect. So yeah, anytime you ever see something new introduced, you can rest assured is you're probably going to see it again someplace
In
else.
his ultimate, Devil Dinosaur transforms into an unstoppable behemoth. He charges forward, mercilessly trampling all enemies in his path, completely shattering enemy backlines to lead your team to victory. As the saying goes, every kid goes through a dinosaur phase, and we hope
This is true, and I don't think I've ever left my dinosaur phase. I still go every time I enter a new city. I go to the museum to see their dinosaurs there. So I don't know who doesn't love dinosaurs.
your childhood dreams will come true right here in Marvel Rivals. Our all-new Doom Match map, Alchemax Headquarters, will be available after the May 28th update. So stay tuned and get ready to storm the gates and rescue Cyclops and Moon Girl. We've prepared a new batch of adorable accessories for Devil Dinosaur, The Thing, Black Widow, Angela, Hela, Namor,
I am going to speed through this part.
and the Punisher. This will be released alongside the Season 8 update. In Season 8, verified college students will get access to a new location of 10 costumes and MVPs. We welcome all college students to verify their university email to unlock these exclusive benefits. Finally, a quick tech update. We've optimized the PC client by separating the high-resolution texture pack into its own standalone DLC. It will still download by default when you install the game, but if you are running a bit low on disk space, you can now choose to uninstall this HD pack separately. Doing so will free up around 35 gigabytes of storage. If you typically play at 1080p or 1440p resolutions, or if you keep your texture quality set to low, we definitely recommend giving this a try. You will save a massive amount of space with practically zero impact on your actual visual experience. Next up,
That definitely helps, I think, like if you're running low on storage space, but I don't think storage space is ultimately the biggest problem. I mean, it's the game is the performance, and I feel like when it comes to textures, textures don't really, yeah, they can affect performance, but you know, it's all of like the post processing stuff that usually does affect the performance a bit more. You know, lighting effects and bounce lighting, and you know, all of the stuff that goes on the screen at once. So I hope that this does help for some people, and I hope like if you're having trouble running out of disk space, then yeah, this could definitely help you out. But yeah, it's interesting. Hopefully, it does help for some people, but I'm not too optimistic about
I
it.
will hand it over to Zhiyo to bring you all the intel on Season 8's team up ability adjustments and balance changes.
Hey Rebels, it's Zio. I'm here to introduce the upcoming changes to our team up abilities and overall balance adjustments. Devil Dinosaur is the anchor here. The Punisher can request to mount up by accepting the interaction prompt. Devil Dinosaur will let Frag ride on his back. While riding, the Punisher can only use his normal attacks and his short grenade. All other abilities are temporarily disabled. In exchange, during the ride, the Punisher receives some damage reduction and a percentage of all damage taken, and healing received is shared directly with Devil Dinosaur.
I do appreciate that the NetEave's devs are just fun. I do believe that they focus on just adding very silly things to the game that just sound like fun, instead of trying to take the game too seriously, and stuff like that is ridiculous. And I love things that are over the top. So I don't know how that'll be. I hope there's cool clips from Punisher riding Devil Dinosaur into battle or something.
In the upcoming Season 8, the arrival of Devil Dinosaur is going to significantly shake up the battlefield. When Vanguards clash on the front line, There will be far more opportunities to initiate attacks and break through enemy formations. To prepare for this evolving combat environment, we've made adjustments across all roles for Season 8. For our vanguards, we are further elevating the frontline combat capabilities of Emma Frost. Her telepathic pulse will now decay more slowly after reaching full energy.
That's actually a pretty significant change that I think she needed.
The cooldown for reprojecting Mai's ages is reduced, and her diamond form will offer an even higher percentage of damage reduction. These changes are designed to provide Emma with far more flexible combat choices. Simultaneously,
Wait, that's a lot of buffs actually. That's pretty significant. I thought it was just maybe just going to be like a simple little like micro buff there, but she's getting everything all across the board buffed, which I don't think puts her in broken territory, but she was kind of mid before.
we are giving the Thing a slight maximum health bump, ensuring that he can consistently apply pressure against enemy vanguards through sheer force with his Stone Haymaker. We've also been closely monitoring.
I really don't like buffing things health. I don't know. I guess I have to see how it goes, but I feel like with good Thing players, they got out when they should. More Thing players, Thing being played more often just means that I have to deal with that annoying ground pound ability that just locks you out of all your abilities for 5 seconds as you're just standing on it, regardless of whether or not you get hit on it. It's just a really annoying ability, so I'm just not excited if I have to see more of him.
Vanguard Depu's rather dominant performance across rank and pro play. To balance his competitive reign, we will be slightly nerfing the damage output of Vanguard Depu's gun form.
So they nerfed the damage in the gun, but not the gun ultimate. Isn't the gun ultimate like the thing that makes him so strong? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I gotta talk to Coach Mills about that one.
Looking at Season 7.5, we observe that the performance of theorists has been relatively balanced across the board. However, as the meta shifts, we are making tactical adjustments to several theorists to ensure they remain competitive. Iron Fist will receive a much smoother combat experience. Striking enemies with Dragon Do will now reduce the cooldown of Dragon's defense by an even greater amount. Meanwhile, Mr. Fantastic.
So I wonder if that means my Iron Fist OTP duo is going to come back and play the game more. Quite possibly.
Of crowd control capabilities against enemies will be slightly turned down, but in exchange, he will receive stronger overall damage and defensive capabilities. In the new season,
Okay, both of those changes are welcome. I don't know how they're going to be. I don't play Iron Fist or Mr. Fantastic, so I'm curious. I'll probably be asking my buddy who, the Iron Fist OTP, what he thinks of the Iron Fist changes after they launch. And for Mr. Fantastic, that's such a unique and interesting character that I'll probably go to one of Gallus's streams and see what he thinks of the changes. Because it's great to hear that they are addressing them though, because those two heroes absolutely needed some sort of love to keep up with all of the crazy new heroes that come out. Like Elsa having so many different abilities and so many different tools in her toolkit. Some of the old heroes just need either more added to their kits or changes that need to happen in order to bring them to keep up with everyone else. I talked about it in the Clear Comms podcast with Mills and the rework and stuff like that. But there's certain heroes, the old ones like Scarlet Witch, where it kind of fills a certain specific niche that you might need, but their kits definitely feel dated in comparison to someone like Black Cat. You can definitely tell which heroes were created early and which heroes were created much later.
Mr. Fantastic will be able to weave freely between the front, mid, and back lines of his team, providing help and protection to whichever teammates need it most. Beyond these two, heroes like Star-Lord, Wolverine, Squirrel, Moon Knight, and Spider-Man will all receive varying degrees of buffs.
why? Like Squirrel Girl, I get, but like, why? You're just gonna drop that, and then just like we're just gonna drop. Wait. We're just not gonna talk about this. You're just gonna drop that Star Lord, Moon Knight, Wolverine, Spider Man, and Squirrel Girl all get buffs, and you're not gonna tell us what kind of buffs? Wait. There's patch notes on this somewhere, or there's like another page or something later, right?
All
Right?
receive varying degrees of buffs.
He's just gonna like
Following
gloss
our
over that.
recent ultimate ability energy adjustments, both double strategies and triple strategies lineup have carved out their own unique tactical niches. However, relying on the strong baseline support capabilities of strategies, triple strategies come still boast a very high margin for error and incredible utility. To address this, we will be slightly turning down the baseline support capabilities of several strategists. In Season 8, we will slightly nerf Invisible Woman's crowd control abilities. For Mantis, we are adjusting the buffs she grants to her allies, slightly lowering her damage boosting capabilities by adding a new baseline movement speed buff.
Oh, that's interesting. Also, I don't know how to feel about that one because movement in these games is super powerful as well. So while it might seem bad to like lose out on the damage, one of the things that really helps you out in these games is speed boosts. That's the reason why Lucio was so powerful in Overwatch. So I'm curious to see how that changes things because adding speed to a character that allows them to catch up and secure more picks, that could be interesting and a pretty significant
In
change.
addition to these changes, the ultimate abilities of heroes like Rocket Raccoon and White Fox will also be buffed, ensuring they don't fall behind when exchanging ultimates in team fights.
My God, stop buffing the parts of the kit that I hate. You don't need to buff Rocket's ultimate. That's not the problem. It's the res beacon. Give me back my new movement and get rid of the res beacon. His ult is oh my God. The problem with his ult isn't that it needs to be more powerful. The problem with his ult is that players need to understand when to ult his Rocket. When you see in Luna, Invis, or Cloak and Dagger, you cannot just throw your ultimate into the middle of it. That's just dumb. It's just going to get destroyed. Rocket's ult requires you to have a good understanding of when to pop it, and it's super powerful. But that's not what makes his kit fun. Like, what makes his kit fun is being able to run on the walls, which you can't do anymore. Remove the res beacon and allow me to run on the walls, please. Oh my God. Everything that they do, every buff that they give to supports always just benefits everyone else around them. Like, it's just Rocket's changes annoy me greatly because of the fact that like buffing his ultimate is great, but who gets to benefit from that the most? His teammates do. He doesn't. Like, it doesn't allow me to really be proactive or do things. It just allows me to rely more on my ultimate, which is what I don't want to do, especially in a game that where the neutral matters so much. It's just that's really disappointing and frustrating to hear. I'm
This
annoyed.
isn't everything. For the full details of our balance adjustments, please keep an eye out for our upcoming balance patch notes. The hero pick race and win race for Season 7.5 will also be released very soon. Additionally, we are actively monitoring the community's feedback and discussions. Some issues do take a little time to properly address, so please keep an eye on our official channels. As soon as we have the right solutions in place, we will sync up with everyone immediately. Ignite the battle.
Okay, let's try to find these patch notes. Okay, we're gonna go quickly and look over these patch notes here. The reduce the bandhander gun form ultimate ability healing providable active from. Oh, this is good because the healing from his gun form ultimate was kind of crazy. It just you no matter when Deadpool would ult with his gun form, your goal was basically just have your team survive through the ultimate because you couldn't really kill him through it. So you just kind of had to just back up and just like give up space. So reducing the healing, I think, is actually the right call on that one. From 36 to 34. Oh, that's not too bad. 32, 39 upgraded. Okay. Wow, that's pretty significant change. I didn't realize how much more damage you got when you upgraded it. This is interesting. I don't know how it's going to be. Once again, when it comes to anything balance wise or patch notes, you always reserve and hold your judgments until after you get in game and test it out. Everything about games is sort of just like it's interesting to read patch notes, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to get your hands on the controls and actually test it out within the context of the game too, not the practice range. Like you actually need to go into game and play games and see how it feels. Practice range is not an accurate representation of how it's going to feel. Begins at 4 seconds. Was 3 seconds if not hitting an enemy. That's pretty good. 3 position cooldown from 3 seconds to 1 second. Interesting. Mine's Aegis. Is that her shield? I don't remember. Increased damage reduction gain during Diamond Form and Psionic Seduction ultimate ability from 20 to 25%. That's pretty significant because as Emma, you die in your ult a lot. You had to be really smart about not just running it out there. We're giving Ben's he's increasing his base health from 700 to 750. Okay, not too bad. Let's see. Lin Lee is sharpening his martial arts. We're boosting his burst potential, something smooth, and smoothing his combos can be a greater threat when diving the enemy lines. Ikendo hits now reduce the cooldown of Dragon's defense by 1.2 seconds, up from 1 second. Okay, increase Kunlun's kick first strike damage from 35 to 40. Okay, this is a tiny little, I feel like a micro buff, but just as they sort of micro buff Psylocke last season, she does feel a lot better. So I'm curious to see how this changes him, and hopefully it's enough to change him from being like how Psylocke was kind of bad last season, especially compared to everyone else. And that tiny little micro buff, it allowed her to make more plays while also not being super oppressive on the burst. So hopefully that this is the exact same thing that Iron Fist gets and then what he needs. Increase stretch punch damage from 65 to 70, remove flexible elongation, movement speed reduction effect. The charge time has been reduced from 8 seconds to 6 seconds. Okay, so it is making it so the movement speed, the CC effect, I guess is less annoying to go up against, but you get to do it more often, which I think is kind of the direction they're trying to go. It seems to be that they're trying to say we want you to use more abilities more often, but also have them be less annoying and less bursty is what my guess is. Because they did the same thing to Bucky where they took away a lot of the annoying CC parts, but it seems like for overall, like also with Psylocke, how they're just saying like, okay, we don't want you to have high burst, but we will let you use abilities more often with the cooldown reduction on each left click. So I think that's a pretty good direction to go overall. Reduce the energy cost of Brainiac Bound's ultimate ability from 34. This one's good because his ultimate was already kind of like terrible. So just let him use it more often then if you're not going to change it, I guess. Reduce Moon Knight hook cooldown from 15 seconds to 12 seconds. Okay, that's actually not that bad. That's probably fine. Gene is shifting her focus. We're cutting her explosive AoE slightly to make her direct hits feel far more lethal. Increase cosmic flames direct hit damage from 50 to 55. Reduce explosion damage when detonating sparks from 40 to 35. Without damage buffs, Phoenix can no longer one-shot 250 health hero with a single mark. Direct hit from her End Song Inferno ultimate. However, the increase to her primary attack damage makes her far more threatening baseline combat. Okay, if you have a single spark, you can't just one-shot someone with the ultimate, which is good because nobody else except for me shoots at the Phoenix ult anyway. So that's good. But it's also good because the problem with Phoenix was for sure her oppressive ability to shoot at you when you're in a group and detonate those explosions all around you. Because it just felt like no matter what, like every single time that you were going with your team anywhere, you were just taking a crap ton of damage before you even like could push through a choke sometimes. But I don't know, like the part that's interesting to me is if you increase her single hit damage, then what does Hela do? Like, what's the point of Hela? I don't know. Maybe it's because she can't one shot 250 targets with a single mark that maybe this will make up for it. I'll have to see. I don't know. There's too many changes here to know how it's going to feel going up against it, but it doesn't seem so much as like a straight buff as it just does seem like a shift of power from one area to another. So we'll have to see how it goes. Let's see. Spidey's wrapping things up tighter than ever. Oh, we're giving his ultimate a bit more bite. Increased spectacular spin damage per single spherical spell field from 13.6 to 15. That is pretty significant. Total damage over 2.408 to 450. Did he need that? I feel like good Spideys were already really good. Problem with, I know people think his ultimate is weak, but it really isn't. I mean, when you have a character that can literally zip in from nowhere and just immediately press Q, you have to be very careful with giving him a powerful ultimate that does a lot of damage. That there's no, because like part of setting up for your ultimate, everyone else is kind of has to, walk or use their mobility to get to set themselves up into position. And in this case, like Spidey doesn't have to worry about that, right? Like he literally can just zip in and do it. He's the only character in the game that is able to do that. So having an ultimate that does more damage is not something that I look forward to. I think that his ultimate was always one of those ultimates that you either had to find someone out of place, do a combo, and then sort of, be able to try and pick them off, or you'd have to combine your ultimate with another person, your teammate, with another one of your teammates in order to actually get successful value out of it. Because any character that has high mobility has to have less damage overall. It's why Psylocke's damage, her burst damage is overall nerfed from the very beginning of the game to now, but now she has more mobility, so they just lean more into that. Spider-Man is the same concept, but on steroids. Like as long as he's so mobile, you have to be very careful playing with his damage numbers. But Spidey mains are happy. The rest of us aren't. I don't know. This might put him into like ban territory actually, especially up in my ranks where there's so many good Spidey players. Like this might just be like a permaban thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting though. We'll find out. Reduce the cooldown of Mammal Bond from 15 to 12 seconds. I mean, that's fine. That doesn't seem like a whole lot. Increase the ammo capacity of guns from 40 to 50. That's pretty significant. Like Star-Lord, a lot of times whenever I played him, it always felt like I just didn't have enough like ammunition in my clips to be able to like really secure picks. So this buffs his neutral quite a bit in terms of his ability to secure picks, but that also means that he's probably going to maybe charge ult a little bit faster too, and he already has a pretty fast ult charge. So I don't know. This is interesting. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. As long as healing factor is kicking into overdrive, he'll be able to bounce back faster. Reduce the trigger cooldown of regenerative healing from 105 seconds to 90 seconds. Did Wolverine need that? I don't know. Because that passive is actually really, really powerful. But I don't know. Like there's a lot of buffs to these DPS that they're not bad. Honestly, I think people are like, I saw when I woke up today, I didn't look at the patch notes. I just saw people overreacting online. And I think like the most offensive part of this is probably like the Spidey ult more than anything. But everything else seems like it might not be too bad. And realistically, some of these, some of these DPS did need addressing. Phoenix is definitely just like it's a shift in power. So this is the one that's the most up in the air that I'm not really sure what to expect. But I don't know. It actually doesn't seem as bad as people are saying. But maybe I'm totally wrong. I'll have to play the game to find out. But let's just move on to strategists for now. Sue is losing a bit of her knockback and damage to help balance the overall control of potential strategist comps, reducing force physics distance push from 12 meters to 10 meters and damage from 55-50. This is good. The force physics push and pull distance was just really, really far. I feel like it was even greater than 12 meters, but I guess it was only 12. But turning it down to 10 is what's needed. It still should be a strong ability. It just shouldn't be one that reaches so far, because even when you think you're safe, that push and pull hits you from like really far away. So reducing that is going to be nice, because that's the frustrating part about her kit. Like this is the reason why this is why I never understood why people were banning Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger had a strong ultimate, but Invis Woman had the push and pull, which shut down a lot of tanks. It pulled people out of position. It pushed people out of position. Like, why would you ban Cloak and Dagger when the most powerful, one of the most powerful supports in the game is Invis Woman, and it's with her push and pull. Like Cloak and Dagger just did, straight healing, straight damage, which in hero shooters, utility is almost always valued more than straight healing and damage numbers. So, they're addressing the most frustrating part of her kit, which is a good thing. They're not addressing the shield, so she's still going to be difficult to kill, which is, I don't know. I feel like I might rework that ability, but this will help a lot of people, especially tank players, because they're usually the ones getting hit by that. Loki, they got to lift mischievously more into support role. His illusions will heal more reliably, but deal less damage. Interesting. Increase the illusion's mystical missile healing ratio from 90% to 100%. Wait, what? Reduce illusion's mystical missile damage from 90% to 80%. Increasing the energy costs of God of Mistress ultimately 4,300, 4,500. Okay. The ultimate ability cost I kind of understand. But it looks like he's going to be able to do more healing and less damage, which I don't understand. I don't play Loki, so I don't really understand that one. But like, you don't win games by playing support by doing healing. You win by doing damage. So I feel like this is an overall decent, with the ultimate change as well, a decent nerf to Loki. Like, it doesn't matter what support you play, heal botting and pumping heal numbers is not how you're gonna win. You have to help your team secure kills, and you do that by using either your utility or doing damage. And it seems like a lot of the supports are getting pushed more into healing rather than doing damage, which is, I don't know. I get like that's what the community wants, because they're always mad that they're never getting healed enough. But like realistically, I think that y'all are asking for the wrong things because I just use cover and I usually don't have too much of an issue being healed. But yeah, I don't know. This is interesting. I don't. This seems like it's a pretty bad. This seems like a pretty decent nerf for Invisible Woman and Loki. Mantis is gaining tactical shift. She's trading some of her damage, boosting power for a brand new baseline speed buff. Reduce ally inspiration damage boost from 12% to 8%. Oh my god. 100 movement speed boost to allies. I don't know what that means. I mean, access conventional damage buff capabilities. Mantis needs to carve a more unique functional niche by adding movement speed buffs. Each team with positioning and kiting. Okay. So I didn't know Ultron had damage buff capabilities now. I probably should have known that. But I guess they're trying to give her a more unique identity, and by doing that, they're using damage and speed, so that way she's got something that makes her unique. I understand the idea behind it, and it's interesting. This could be a buff. You could consider it a buff because movement speed is so powerful. Um, but I would be. This is the one I'm probably most interested. I think on the support side so far to like try out. This one could be very beneficial and helpful. Because yeah, like one of the big problems or one of the things that makes Gambit ult so powerful is speed buff, right? Like that's part of the speed buff that you get in the ult because you just chase people down. Speed is speed and mobility are very powerful in hero shooters, which is the reason why you see so many characters with them. So this could be I know it's the damage is pretty significant, but the speed buff could be more than enough to make up for it. Rocket is upgrading his arsenal. He'll be putting more damage, tossing out more heals, and dropping his ultimate faster. Increase bombardment hit damage per projectile 16 to 17. I don't care. Increase repair mode charges from 8 to 10 so he can heal more orbs. I don't care. Reduce the energy cost of Sia Emily from ultimately from 4,300 to 4,000. Okay. So what this means, like the increasing the damage per hit per projectile is not really the problem. Being able to go from like right click to left click a little bit faster would have been better than this. He didn't need more charges to heal. And his ultimate, like now with it being 4,000 and him having 10 charges, you're going to charge your ultimate a lot faster than a lot of the other supports. And what your goal as Rocket is going to be is that you are going to try and charge your ultimate as quickly as possible. And the moment that you get it, you just rip it right away. Because you will be charging your ultimate faster than a lot of the other supports will. And then the moment that you rip it, you just go straight into damage mode and you try to help your team secure kills. That's going to be how you play Rocket. Just sit back, charge it up as quickly as possible, and then just rip it right away because you will probably get your ultimate before a lot of other people. And the way the Rocket ult works is that as long as you get a single kill with that ultimate, you've gotten your value. Or if it's a 6v5, you rip that ultimate and you clean up the other 5 with your single ultimate. And when you're using Rocket ultimate, place it deep into the enemy. Like don't place it on top of your team. Place it to where your team wants to walk so you can walk into them and you can just melt them down. That's going to be how you play them. I see that they're buffing him because they absolutely destroyed him in terms of his ability to move around and stuff, and he's a lot less fun. But this doesn't address all of the problems and the frustrating parts about his kit. Like this is one of those changes that I hate that devs do because on paper this is going to increase his win rate, but that doesn't make him more fun to play. Like it doesn't make him less fun to or it doesn't make it better to go up against him either because the problem in his kit isn't his healing, his ultimate, or his damage from his projectile. Even at this moment, the problem in his kit is the res beacon and the lack of mobility from his movement because he moves so slow and clunky now. When you're going up against a Daredevil, a Black Panther, a Black Cat, Rocket just basically just can't survive in the same way anymore. You can't, as soon as they sort of jump on you, there's nothing that you can do. And you rely so heavily on your team because of that. And then the res beacon is that thing that just, there's nothing worse than you're trying you're trying very hard as a team to be able to push in and you can't. So you get a pick, but that pick is ultimately immediately negated because there's a res beacon and you couldn't, you didn't have a team with mobility in order to get the res beacon. I play Psylocke, so it doesn't affect me as much. But if you're playing, Bucky, Hela, Phoenix, whatever, that you basically have to kill 7 enemies instead of 6 in order to be able to push forward. And that really messes with certain team comps where, if you're a dive hero, somebody with mobility, you can easily break the res beacon, sure. But other team comps is just naturally have a huge disadvantage against Rocket. So I still am on the idea that like all of these changes aren't going to make him more fun. They're just going to increase his win rate. And I don't think that that's the right play. I think that they should be focusing more on doing things that make him more fun, that allow him to be more proactive in his plays, and changing the res beacon, because the res beacon is really frustrating. It's a free ability that I hate, and it shouldn't be. I think it can easily be reworked into something else. I don't think that this is the right direction for Rocket. I mean, I already had a 61% win rate with Rocket. This will just make it go up even higher. So yeah, but I won't. I'll still be bitching and I will still be complaining every step of the way. Okay, I actually have to re-record my reaction here to White Fox, because I actually misunderstood what her Fox form was. I thought it was her ultimate. It's not her ultimate. It is her E ability. So increase the healing amount provided by Aura during Fox form awakening 5 to 35. Reduce burst healing generated by each successful attack during Fox form awakening from 35 to 25. The input in Fox form awakening state was too high when continuously attacking enemies, but too low when unable to maintain targets. This slightly lowers her intense burst healing when spamming attacks, boosts her passive healing aura when no targets are available. Okay. I don't think this is as bad as you make it out to be. Like, yeah, you get more healing passively, so there's like less work involved with sort of, I guess, like getting that healing. But the big problem, I mean, the complaints that I was seeing online, especially as of recently, was that they thought that her healing was too crazy high when she was using her abilities. So while the passive healing is rewarded more and you're being less rewarded for being proactive, the amount of burst healing overall is getting lower. So maybe, when you're engaged with combat with her, it might feel more fair to go against, but it might also mean that if there's no targets for you, you don't feel totally useless at the same time. This is another one of those like shifts in power that don't know how it's going to play out. If you are a DPS, especially like a melee one or a dive DPS, she's going to be doing less damage if she connects those hits, or less healing if she connects those hits. So maybe this is a beneficial one for you, but I'm curious. Intense burst healing when spamming attacks. This seems to boost your passive healing or when no targets field. 35. I don't play a whole lot of Fox. I know what it's like to play up against her. So this is one of those ones that's interesting. With anything that's like a long paragraph like this, like, there's no way for me to know exactly how this is going to play out. It means there's a lot of shifts in power around, and sometimes a shift in power isn't necessarily always a bad thing, right? Psylocke had her shift in power from her burst to being able to use her abilities more often. That is both more. It feels more fair to play against it, but also still allows the Psylocke players to still have fun. I think that's what they're trying to find with a lot of these heroes. And while they miss the mark a lot of times with characters like Rocket Raccoon, like they hit it for Psylocke, and maybe they hit it with Iron Fist now too. Like, I will have to see. I do think that that's what their goal is overall. So this one, we're just gonna have to wait and see how this one plays out. Team ability is adjusted. The stage expanding. We're boosting the operational range of this icy trio so they can freeze the competition further. Diamond spell form from 9 meters to 12 meters. Use barrier placement distance in the match to match the 12-meter radius. This is interesting. I don't think it matters too much. Maybe with Emma being buffed, that you're going to see this more often, but we'll see. Team up with Devil Dinosaur. Devil Dinosaur gains a bonus 100 health. Punisher unlocks the Ancient Judgment ability through his team up with Devil Dinosaur. Yeah, not much there. I mean, this one just looks fun and silly, and I hope there's a lot of fun and silly things that happen with it. Yeah, okay. So that's the patch notes overall. It's interesting. I think that I don't want people to overreact too soon with all things game wise. Like, you have to try it out in game, right? The amount of people who freak out too early is just too high. People freaked out way too early saying that Black Cat was terrible and how awful she was, and now she's picker banned and high elo, right? Whenever it comes to any of these changes into these patch notes, I always say you really need to test it out in game. You really need to try it out and see how it plays. And then when you see how it plays, then you can see in the context of, the overall game, how it plays out. Because going into practice range and showing, oh, well, look what this hero can do in the practice range, I think is a bit disingenuous. It doesn't really show off how things are in context. Because in my opinion, a lot of the changes that the supports have gone through, the ability to make them more self-sufficient, is because of the fact that the community had so many expectations on them. Yes, Luna has a lot of damage, but it's because of the fact that the way the players were playing the game was so focused on expecting supports to be able to heal and keep themselves alive at the same time, that they were buffing the supports in order to do just that. So yeah, Luna can do a lot of damage in the practice range, but in the context of the game, she's not just trying to do damage. She's trying to heal and keep her team alive and also defend herself and her other support at the exact same time. So I understand what they're balancing for is not the practice range. What they're balancing for is the context of how it's played in the game and how the players are currently playing that game, right? So, with all of these changes and, with everything going forward, I think it's interesting. It's not as simple, I feel, as like some of the other patch notes where it's just like, oh, this is very clearly a buff. Even a lot of the buffs to like the duelists and stuff like that, Squirrel Girl makes sense. The Moon Knight, it's just more mobility. That's not bad. I think this could be what he needs because he can very easily be destroyed pretty quickly. A lot of this stuff is shifts in power. The only one that really concerns me is the Spidey ult increase, but yeah, really just wait and test it out and see how it plays in game. Keep an open mind. Don't go all doom and gloom too soon. And remember, for a lot of people, these patch notes, it doesn't affect most people the way that they think, right? If you are still in the lower elos, if you are, below celestial especially, you need to focus more on the fundamentals of, resource management, alt tracking, and using cover, stabilizing, et cetera. Like, you need to focus on those things more than anything, and all of these micro adjustments start to matter more the higher up that you climb, right? Metas happen, especially when you are when everyone's playing the best, the best of the best and all the best heroes and whatever's the strongest at the time. Like, that matters most when you actually start to get probably closer to eternity. But for everyone else, don't freak out too much. Play the heroes that you enjoy playing, play your favorite heroes and focus on those fundamentals. You'll climb to celestial playing whatever hero you enjoy the most. So don't let this stuff worry you too much and don't go all doom and gloom. At the end of the day, it's still just a video game about playing as your favorite superheroes. So always remember that. That's it. That's all I got really to say on this one. I am looking forward to Devil Dinosaur because I love dinosaurs. But yeah, I think that with the ultimate ability changes and everything, I think that overall the game has been improving since the very beginning. I know it's kind of hard to believe, but season zero, I remember what that was like. And I think that if you compare season zero to where the game is today, I think they have made a lot of improvements. And I still have hope and still, think that NetEase is doing a pretty decent job, all things considered. I don't agree with everything, but obviously with the rocket changes, but Psylocke is a lot of fun. So, at the very least, I think that they're trying their best and I think that they're doing a better job than some other companies have done in the past. So yeah, that's all I got. Anyway, hopefully this was interesting. And yeah, thank you again for watching and let me guys know what you think in the comments if you're excited for Devil Dinosaur or what you think of the patch notes. Anyway, thanks.